back in the place to be with the CBDC Asset Group. Thank you for being a part of the group. This video is a Gary Gensler slap fest. He's getting slapped by the Ethereum team. He's getting slapped by some random dude asking questions. We also got Elon Musk talking about US regulations and says that the government should do nothing about crypto so that it can advance. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notifications bell so you can always know when I drop a new video. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I hope you like it.
But we saw the SEC issue a report, and it was a very favorable report. It was exactly what our legal team has expected and interpreted the DAO to be. Importantly, the SEC said that they would continue to look at the details of every situation. They aren't throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I like the fact that they called Ether a cryptocurrency in that particular report, designating that as a category rather than a security. So the United States is doing a pretty good job of being patient, which is what you need to do with a profound new technology. And the United States did a great job of being patient and creating safe harbors for a technology called the internet or the World Wide Web. And it could be argued that the USA won.
Hi, Gary. Appreciate the regulation of crypto that you're pursuing. One question for you is, you've said that there can't be 5,000 to 6,000 private forms of money, referring to the approximately 6,500 tokens there are. But that's a patently false statement. Barely, but the majority of those tokens are not trying to be private forms of money. So how do you reconcile that?
Well, I don't know your first name. I apologize, but I think that you raise a good point. I was using the term cryptocurrencies loosely. They're not all currencies, but I also think that each of these individual projects, if they want to compete as a form of money, that's unlikely. If they're competing as something else, if they're offering something to the public other than investment contract. I mean, Preet was saying that they're maybe not investment contracts. If they're investment contracts and they're a form of security, which I think there are many of them are, again, based on facts and circumstances, that would be different. But it's hard to say that they are, all not investment contracts and all not some form of trying to be some form of private money. And then you say, well, they're a commodity. But I'd ask back, how many forms of precious metal really compete as some form of long-term form of store of value?
I guess the answer to that is pretty straightforward, though. You'd have gold and then some other precious metals for different commodities. But I think that we all want you to succeed in pursuing this regulation of crypto, but some of those statements probably rip some credibility off you. So I'd ask you to sort of probably consider them more closely, because it's not like you say that there's file storage systems such as Filecoin, which are decentralized AWS, let's say, and you're not saying that AWS or Amazon stock or Microsoft stock or Google stock are forms of money. I just think statements like that are probably ruffling feathers.
Well, I appreciate your comments.
Well, Elon Musk says there is nothing that can destroy crypto, but he says the U.S. government should avoid any regulation in the space. He weighed in on that in comments at the Code Conference in California. Our very own Jennifer Schonberger following that for us. And Jennifer, it's, we always discuss anything Elon Musk says. But what specifically is his concern around regulation?
Hey, good morning to you. So yeah, Elon Musk says when it comes to regulating cryptocurrencies, the U.S. government should, quote, do nothing. He's concerned that it would slow down innovation in the space and really slow down growth. He told the Code Conference in LA that it's, quote, not possible to, I think, destroy crypto, but it is possible for governments to slow down its advancement. Now, in speaking exclusively this morning with the head of the comptroller of the currency, Michael Hsu, I asked him about Elon Musk's comments. And while Hsu didn't comment specifically on what Elon Musk said, he says that Musk is one of the cheerleaders in this, or he implied, I should say, that Musk is one of the cheerleaders in this space. He says there are too many cheerleaders that are overcrowding, talking up their books because they're invested in these cryptocurrencies, and that more rules of the road are needed. He says that adults are needed in the room, and that if we don't regulate crypto now, we are headed for a financial crisis. Though Hsu tells me, for the crypto bulls out there, the U.S. government is not looking to kill crypto. There is validity here. There is good in this. The notion of a peer-to-peer currency that wrings out costs and increases efficiency is good at its core, but we need to wring out some of the speculation right now. He says it's just mostly trading as opposed to actual payments that are being made. I should note that the OCC is working closely with the president's working group on new regulations. That group includes the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and the SEC, among others. Hsu says that they can apply some of the current financial principles that stem from this current statutes to the crypto space, but that they do need a new set of rules to govern these specific digital assets, and they will need more authority from Congress. Back to you.
Yeah, we've seen, a kind of a confluence of agencies looking into some issues. We've heard both the Fed and the SEC talk about stablecoins, but really, when you talk about Elon Musk's comments there, slowing it down. We heard from Ray Dalio talking about the government killing it, but slowing it down does seem important when you look back and reflect on the fact that institutional investors have been pouring in here in this year, and that's driven a lot of the price appreciation. But clearly, if regulators just wanted them to stop, they would be able to tweak some rules to say that it's off limits, and that would, I assume, probably have some negative impacts in price rather quickly.
Yeah, well, to your point, Zach, one of the things that Hsu raised in my interview is that speed of which this is growing. And he says it's growing too quickly. So Elon Musk has hit on an important point here. He says, we're above 2 trillion and growing. And he pointed out stablecoin and the issue that we've had in terms of smaller runs in the past. He says those runs are only going to get bigger. And once you have a run, it's very hard to stop that. And what really concerns him now is that crypto is in its own little space. It's now being intertwined with the rest of the banking system. And so that's where the concern is popping up about the fragility potentially for the overall financial system.
Jennifer Schomburger on top of that for us today. Appreciate you joining the show.
If you like what you see and hear, please don't forget to follow, share, like, and subscribe. Get that YouTube algorithm working.